Hello, good morning. This is the Breville Barista Express BES870 in silver. I'm sure you've seen the photos, but I have to say again, the condition is very good. I would give it a 9 out of 10. Obviously, there's some light scratches from the very light use that it's seen. Otherwise, it's very, very clean. The machine is on and it's got some beans and some water. I'm just gonna do a quick double shot latte to demonstrate everything. So I'll begin by, usually it takes about a minute to turn on. But it's already warmed up. So what I like to do before every shot is a blank shot, which is, you don't put any coffee in the handle and you just run a double shot right here to warm up the machine, the handle and the cup as well. It'll just clean everything as well, so that's good. Alright. I'm gonna put this aside. I'll grab a tissue. So you want to dry your portafilter before grinding the coffee. It has to be dry. And you can get a scale like this one to make the process of getting a good shot easier. You don't really need a scale, but it would help a lot with some of the variables. So calibrate. I've got the 2-cup single wall basket here, which is the best one. I want 18 grams of ground coffee in this to get a good cup. So I'm going to change this setting based on that. Also, the grind size is at number 4 at the moment. I feel it's good. It's a good number for this bean that I'm using. But if I notice the pressure is too high, I'm going to make it more coarse. If I notice the pressure too low, I'm going to make it more fine, if that makes sense. So I'm going to keep it at a single dose. You can also put it at double and you will grind the double amount straight away. I like to keep it at single and do it in 2 steps. That way I can press it down and, you know, make it neat before I'm done. So I'll put this at around 2 o'clock. Yeah. That's 9.5. I'm happy with that. So I'm gonna put it. So if you keep it here at 2 o'clock, that'll give you 9.5 per dose. So if you do that twice, that's 19. So I'm gonna put it right here at 1 o'clock. Hopefully that'll give us 9 grams. Sweet. Yeah, you could. I guess you could keep it between 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock. It'll give you about 9.5 grams. And if you don't have a scale, a very good way to know that you have the correct amount of coffee is after you grind the coffee and then you press it down, which is what I'm going to do now. So I've pressed it down. After I've pressed it down, I want the tamper to go as deep, only as deep as this silver part, like that. Can you see that? More or less. If you can see the edge, it's about 0.5 centimeter from the edge. That's how I know I've got approximately 18 grams of coffee in my double basket. And it's the same thing for the single basket. Tamp it only as deep as the silver part. And then make sure it's flat and it's smooth, and apply even pressure. Clean the edges and then put it in. Usually about 6 o'clock, maybe 5 o'clock, a bit more. 6 o'clock is okay. So I'll grab my cup here, which still has the hot water because I've warmed it up. The machine also has a hot water tap right here. You can use this hot water tap to warm up your cups, to make tea, to make Americanos. I like to use it for something else. So I like to add sugar and sometimes syrups to my coffee. So I add a little bit of hot water before the shot to mix it up and make it easier to dissolve into the espresso. There we go. Get a bit more. Cool. Okay, now we've got the ground coffee in the handle. I'm also going to use the scale to measure how much coffee comes out of the machine. The machine comes from factory with, I think, 30 grams and 60 grams for the single and double. But you can change that by pressing program and then pressing the cup as well. So the way you do that, for example, with this one, you press program, then press the button, and then when it starts giving you coffee, and when you're happy with the volume, you press it again, and it will beep at you, and it will save the volume. It's quite easy actually. And if you want to reset these at any time, just hold. You'll go back to factory settings. So I've got my cup here, I've got my scale calibrated. I'm gonna measure what comes out of the double cup, the 2 cup button. I think it's gonna be about 50 grams, I'm not exactly sure. Do keep an eye on your gauge, it's very important. Keep an eye on your gauge and the way the coffee comes out. If the gauge is showing you full pressure, for example, and you see the spout and what comes out is very slow coffee, like a black drops, or even no coffee, and that means your grind size is very fine. You want to reduce that. If you see that the pressure is low, so only about here, and the coffee comes out very quickly, and it looks ugly, then that's probably very coarse coffee, so you want to make it more finer. What you really want, in a perfect scenario, is the pressure gauge around 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock right here, and you want your flow to be slow and consistent. 2 different streams from the spouts that are slow and consistent. You might see that today. Yep. So it's nice, slow flow, maybe a bit too fast. But you see the pressure gauge at around 12 o'clock. And the coffees are coming out in black drops. Okay, so this is the default setting for the double cup button, which I think is a bit too much. Yeah, it's exactly 60 milliliters of coffee. And it's quite accurate usually. When you set it to a certain volume, it'll give you very close to that every time. So this is 60 milliliters. It's a little bit too much for a latte. Usually I want 40 for a latte. And the way you do that, for example, like I told you, you press this, then you press this. So you press this, then you press this, and then the machine will start giving you coffee. when you're happy with the volume, you press it again and it will save that volume. Anyway, that's not too bad. It looks good, by the way. It has a lot of crema, and as you saw, it was a good pressure. So we did do the grinder stuff right. So that's good. Also, just to clean it up, do another blank shot. So rinse out the machine, rinse out the handle in one go. Perfect. Now let's do the milk. For this, you'll need a metal jug, preferably. They sell them all the time at Kmart and like IKEA. Yeah, so you want preferably a metal jug because that way you can feel the temperature of the milk. If you don't have a metal jug, a ceramic mug will be okay, like a glass or ceramic mug, anything that conducts heat well. And I will fill up the jug just below the spout, so this much. For the steam, you turn it on and you wait about 10-15 seconds, it'll start giving you steam, which is quite quick for a single boiler machine. Give it a few seconds, it'll become even stronger. I'm going to turn it off, and I'm going to put it close to the surface of the milk and try to create a vortex. Don't turn it off for too long, otherwise the coffee machine will go back to espresso mode. So I'm going to do this for about 15-20 seconds, and then when that's done, I'm going to raise the jug, and now I'm only heating up the milk because the milk wand is deep into the milk and it's not injecting any more air. So I don't want it to be too bubbly for a latte. And then when I can't touch it for too long, so if I can't touch it for more than half a second, I know it's about 60 degrees. So before I let it go, I'm going to purge the wand just to get out the milk. And then I'm going to quickly grab a wet towel. You'll see the machine, by the way, you'll see it go back to coffee mode. That's normal. You see the buttons light up, that means it's ready to make another coffee. So with the wet towel, this is very important, you should do this every time. Wipe the wand straight away. From the back, from the bottom, all around. If you don't clean it now, it will be very difficult to clean later. So I recommend you do this ASAP. Cool. Here's the milk, it looks beautiful. I'm going to tap it on the bench to break any bubbles, swirl it around to mix it up. With this machine, you can actually do latte art. I've never been able to master it because I don't have the dexterity for it, but it's very possible. Alright, here's the latte. I'm sure it's going to taste beautiful, like always. And here's your machine. Hopefully I'll see you soon, and hope you enjoy it. Cheers.